How do you cut off all other options and force yourself to move forward in a direction? Today's 10 at 10 is here to get you a little bit more motivated, get you a new tool in your toolbox, help you move forward with your life. So something that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs when they are first getting started is they just start spinning their wheels, right? They're listening to noises all over the place. They're moving forward a little bit over here, then they move forward a little bit over there. This definitely happened to me. When I got started in 2014, I just remember reading books and writing down information and like trying to put together a roadmap, right? But I would start moving over here. Oh, I need to do emails and start doing emails. Oh, I need to do websites and start moving over here. And it just got overwhelming. If you're not an entrepreneur and you're listening to this, it still applies to you. There are, I'm sure, places in your life where you're like, oh, I want to make a change. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to get a raise at my job. I want to do something different, right? And you start to make a little bit of forward momentum, and then something happens and you move in a different direction. So the word decide literally means that you cut off all other options. When you do that, your brain, like when you no longer can think about anything else, I want you to think about this for yourself. So I have somebody super special that is joining me to talk about this. We're going to bring him on. Cody, what's up, man?
What's up, Steve? How we doing today?
We are doing awesome. So Cody, I want you to hear this, and then I have some very specific questions for you. So this is definitely something new. Cody started his business this year, and he made the decision. So I definitely want his feedback on this. But this is the story that leads up to it, right? We have a decision that we're looking to make in our life, whether it is losing weight, whether it's getting a new job, whether it is starting a business. And we start thinking about it. We start moving forward, right? We start pushing in a direction. And then something happens where we start to either second guess ourselves, we start to look at other options, we start to think about other things. But I want you to go back in your mind and I want you to think about the decision that you made that you didn't do that with. Right? When you actually made the decision and you cut off all other options, you stopped thinking about it. And when you stop thinking about other things, right? The grass is always greener. Oh, I should do that over there. When you just cut all of that out, you start to move forward really, really quickly. So Cody, you started Motivation Everything when? May, June?
So Motivation Everything, well, initially the company was started back in August. And I really began to monetize it in October.
All right. So I want you guys to hear that. He started in August. When you started in August, you moved all in with everything. You decided, I'm going to help people get motivated about their life. How many people are in your Facebook group right now?
We're close to 2,000 right now. It's quality. We have really good interaction inside of the group. I don't let everybody in.
So Cody decided he was going to start a business, which most people would say you can't just motivate people. You have to have a clear outcome. You have to sell something. Instead, Cody said, this is what I'm good at. I know that I can make a difference. Stuck a stake in the ground. Have you thought about anything else really since?
No, I went all in. I literally left a very cushioned position in a company to go all in on something that I wasn't even 100% I would be able to build my life around, but I felt that's what I was called to do. And you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I just went all in with what I did.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit just about how the journey has gone for you from August till now. I mean, we're talking September, October, November, December, January, 5 months. What has your life been like?
Dude, it has been a ride. It's been the most incredible 5 months of my life. For one, Steve, the fact that I don't work. I wake up every day and I do what I love, and I serve people in the capacity that I feel I was called to serve in. So for me, the 5 months have been incredible alone, just doing something that I'm actually passionate about. As far as success goes, it's been successful and it continues to just it's like a snowball effect. Momentum just continues to kick in. I'm able to impact more and more people. Opportunities keep presenting themselves to me. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't tell you this has been the most incredible 5 months of my entire life thus far.
Awesome. My follow-up question to that is, has it been easy?
Of course not. I mean, nothing worthwhile in life is easy. But the thing that's different is when you pick something that you're actually passionate about. And when those obstacles present themselves, you're going to push through them. You're going to get over them. And I think that's the difference is life's hard no matter what. You need to choose what your heart is and choose something that you're passionate about. So when those hard times do present themselves, it doesn't matter. Like I know who I am and I know where I'm going, and that's enough for me. So it doesn't matter what gets in my way because I know where I'm going and I'll get through it.
Awesome. I would agree 100% with that. So first off, we talked about the word decide, right? Decide means to cut off all other options. When you cut off all other options, your eyes become really focused on the goal and where you're going. When you hit obstacles, you move over them, you move forward, you push past them. I mean, when you don't decide clearly and you start looking at other options, right? I think this happens a lot in dating relationships, right? We get the rose-colored glasses. We start dating somebody. Oh, this person's amazing. Then we hit a hiccup, right? We see, they're not this amazing person that we thought they were. They're not perfect, right? They're still a great person, or maybe they're not. That's the point of dating. But when you actually decide and you move forward and you say, you know what, this is the right person, or this is the right job, you cut off all of that other stuff. You stop complaining, you stop bitching, you stop whining, and you just get it done. So, Cody, just tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you've had and how you've dealt with them, because I think it's really motivational, pardon the pun, to help people move forward. I've watched your journey, and it's been really, really amazing to see you just power through some really kind of challenging places.
I want to say real quick is, the theme of this is cutting off other options. I'm a firm believer in going all in. I think by nature, I've always been an all or nothing person. So there's no in between for me. So in a way, when I decide on something, it may be a little more instinctual for me to go all in on it. But from what I've seen in any industry, most people never see tangible success if they're just trying something. I mean, it doesn't really happen. And what you have is you have people trying to do like 5 things at once, and they maybe do a couple okay. But to do something great and to go the distance with something, to see real tangible success, I'm a firm believer that you can't dip your toe in the water, that you have to jump all in and say that this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm passionate about, and I'm going to make this happen. And, there's that saying that says, like, burn the sails, burn the ships, burn the boats. Well, that's what I did. I remember I actually did a live. I was on my phone. And when I decided the day that I was going all in on Motivation Everything, I got live on my phone and said, this is what I'm doing. I'm going all in it. I just quit my job. And it's basically, I'm jumping off a cliff was the metaphor I used. I'm coming towards the water. I don't know how to swim yet, but I'm going to figure it out. By the time I hit that water, I will learn how to swim. And I think when you put yourself in that position where there's no turning back, Steve, then you'll succeed. So to go into your question of overcoming obstacles and building something that's successful in our life, the first thing is always make a decision. When I talk to people and clients that I work with, I really want to root out, is this what you're actually passionate about? Are you willing to go all in on this? Because if you're just going to try this, there's probably 9 out of 10 chances you're going to fail at it. And it's going to be hard. Like in theory, everything sounds great, but actually doing it's a lot harder. So I think that it's making a decision on what do you actually want to go all in with. And then it's enduring through the rut. I got to see Russell Brunson speak at the BDB Live 4.0. I believe you watched it too. And something that stuck with me on this journey is Russell Brunson talks about going through these ruts as you're building a business and in life. And these ruts suck and everything's not going the way that you want it to go. But he says that if you endure long enough through that rut, eventually you're going to come up. So my mindset through this whole thing is I began to just pour my money, my time, my energy into free content. I've made a video every single day. Ever since I started Motivation Everything, I have not missed a video. I put out 2 pieces of content and a video almost every single day. That's my time. That's my money. That's my energy. I hired a team now to do my graphic design. I poured a ton of my money and energy into this. And my family thought I was crazy, Steve. Like, they're like, dude, you quit a COO position in a company making 6 figures to go make motivational videos and motivate people. And I was like, yes, because this is what makes me happy. This is what makes me fulfilled. And what happened is people got to know me. people got to like me, and people began to trust me through that process. And I was so consistent at showing up. You're buying real estate through social media. I think of social media purely as real estate. It's what people's eyes are on. So how do I buy as much of that real estate as I can and get them to see me? So it's consistent content posting. It's doing lives like this. It's getting in front of people and delivering value. And then through that, I was able to monetize it. I began doing one-on-one, started a mastermind. I began doing group coaching, speaking engagements began to open up for me. I'm writing a book right now. Like all of these monetizable things began to come together out of that. So sorry, I got on a tangent there. Does that answer your question, or do you want to redirect me?
No, you did great, man. The one thing, so I think some people listening to this might be saying, well, okay, it worked for you. You went all in. How do you have the confidence? Because I think when you make the decision to decide on something, right, whether you're looking at leaving your job and starting a business, or you're looking at going to a new job, or you're looking at a relationship, how do you make that decision, right? And I think two things that I've learned in the last 2 years, two things in 2 years that I've learned that I think made a difference for me in this. I would love to hear your feedback. The first one is you have to have faith in yourself. You have to say, I will figure it out. And we spend all this time, right, when we're making a decision, the fear monster comes out and it's like, oh my goodness, you might not make money. Oh my goodness, you might not have a place to live. Oh my goodness, all this bad stuff might happen, right? But none of that is true. Like very little of that ever comes true, because we can figure it out, right? We're smart people. You don't get to be where you are. I know some people listening might be saying, well, I don't know if that would work for me, or I have a wife and kids to support, or I have a family. I need assurance. So the first thing that I learned in that is, like Tim Ferriss talked about this, like fear setting, right? What is the worst thing that can happen, and can I deal with that? And then how can I hedge a little bit against it so that I have some fail safe, some kind of safety net in place? By having that, you have that there. The second thing is find somebody that has done it successfully and model them. Those are the two things that I have found in my own life. And then just make the decision, make a public declaration, have an accountability partner. All of those things. An accountability partner, when I wanted to email my list every day, my friend Mark Stern and I did $20. If we didn't email our list every day, we had to send the other person $20 at midnight before going to bed. That forced me to get in the routine and start moving forward. I would just love to hear how you've said that you've always been an all-in person, but how do you deal with the fear? How do you deal with the voices that are in your head? If you guys are watching this right now, drop a comment for Cody. I know Justice Jones posted something up there, but if you guys are listening to this and you need some motivation in your life, you need to move forward with something that is holding you back, you need to cut off some other options and just start taking action, post a comment. Cody and I will both give you a little round of applause and give you something to help you move forward.
Yeah, Steve, one thing I want to say is, the fear setting and finding someone that's run the race that can mentor you is huge. But psychology has been proven, and there's a lot of studies, that we don't change until the pain of staying where we're at is unbearable. So by human nature, we are conditioned mentally to stay within our comfort zones. So often in life, you have people that they're not necessarily happy where they're at, but they're comfortable enough to stay where they're at. And I think instinctually, fear or pain of where they're at it doesn't hurt enough. It doesn't, drive them enough to want to make the change, to see a change in their life. So when someone's sitting there, I really want you to dig deep. If you want to do more with your life than where you're presently at, frame that in a way that drives you to take action to change the circumstances that you have. So like for me, I'm 26 and made six figures multiple times because I'm really good at selling. I spent almost a decade in sales when I directly got out of high school, and I could have stayed where I was at. I was comfortable, right? I made good money. My life was pretty good. I was happy. I had great people I surrounded myself with, but ultimately I didn't feel fulfilled selling. It wasn't what I felt that my gifts and my talents were meant to be used for. So for me, every time I thought about that, I felt like I was wasting my time on this earth. And I began to really think about that. And what would my life look like if I just went for it? What would 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years, 20 years look like for Cody Cottle if instead of just staying in sales and being comfortable at six figures, I went all in on trying to be a motivational speaker, coaching and mentoring other people to live a fulfilling life, to figure out what are you passionate about? What's your purpose in the world? And what would happen for you if you just went all in on this? So I think it's you have to frame in your mind to see the pain. It has to hurt. For me, like it kept me up at night, Steve. Like just thinking about, like I've met so many people in life that are older than me. And the one thing they always tell me is, if I was your age and knew what I know now, you always hear that from older people. Cody, if I was your age and I was 26 years old and just knew what I know now, man, would my life look so different? And I began to think about that, Steve, and I began to let that really go through my mind and say, that they all say this. It's not coincidence. So what if I knew what they know now at my age and I just went for it? So for me, I began to frame in my mind that constant. I mean, and I'll say it's a process. I wanted to go all in on something like Motivation Everything for the past 5 years. And admittedly, it took me 5 years to finally burn the sails and say, I'm going all in for it. And I will say COVID-19 created a perfect storm. Getting furloughed from your job, what better chance than to go all in on the business that you always wanted to start when you're furloughed at the time? So
I want to point to two things really quick. The first one is you looked at COVID as a possibility, as a catalyst, instead of a, oh my goodness, the world is ending and everything's going wrong. So that's just, we've talked a lot on this channel about how you make the choice of what your world looks like. So Cody did that first. The second thing is where a lot of people would have been really comfortable with six figures, especially at 26 years old. Cody instead chose to put himself in pain by looking at people who said, man, if I knew what I knew now at your age, I would make different decisions. And this is how I would move forward. Because I think a lot of people would say, man, if I made six figures, I'd retire, or I would sit back and relax. And I think that's obviously part of the difference. Cody, I want to specifically ask though, like, what did you do? So you started looking at these people and they started telling you different things. There are plenty of people out there, I'm sure, that told you, probably your family, some of them, like, oh man, you make plenty of money. You don't have to move forward. You don't have to do anything different. How did you, what were some of the mental tips, tricks, hacks, thoughts that were going through your mind that kept you focused on growth as opposed to status quo?
That's a good question, Steve. Well, number one, family or not, people I love or not, I've learned to not take advice from people that aren't where I want to be. So being honest, I'm not taking financial advice from my parents. I'm not taking life advice very much from them, some things. So for me, yeah, my family, my friends, people that were within my proximity would tell me that like life, I had a great life and I didn't need to change anything and I was doing everything right. I actually hated that. And I began to look to the people that I admired and I looked up to and the mentors and coaches in my life. And they were the people that I seeked for advice. And, you know, they always told me to play bigger. And that drove me to want to play bigger. So you asked, like, what are some mental tricks, tips, and hacks for people? Number one, don't take advice from people that don't have what you want in life. Often in life, we give permission to so many people to give us advice that should not have the right to give us advice. Like, why are you taking like wealth advice from somebody that's broke? Why are you taking health advice from somebody that's overweight? Why are you taking relationship advice from somebody that has terrible relationships? So that's the number one thing, is be very careful about who you take advice from. Everybody has an opinion and they're like buttholes. Most of them stink. So I had to say that. The next thing is begin learning. I think for me, the more I began to personally develop, a lot of people don't take time to invest in themselves. And the greatest investment that you can ever make is in yourself. Warren Buffett says that. So for me, I began learning. I began reading. I began listening to guys that were doing what I wanted to do. I admire Tony Robbins, so I began to study him. I admire Eric Thomas. I began to study him. The late, great Jim Rohn, I began to study him. So I began to study people that had lived or are living a life similar to what I saw for me in the future. And success leaves clues. And if you just pay attention, everybody's best stuff is in their books. The problem is most people don't want to take time to actually invest and read books. And this is the number one thing that separates me from everyone else is I'll take several hours a day. I'll sit down and I will read through these books where most of you say you do, but you just buy the book and it collects dust on your shelf. So take advice from people that are where you want to be, invest in yourself into resources. The third thing is find people that have already done what you want to do. Steve hit on this. For me, I realized, okay, I obviously don't know what I don't know. So I need to find people that do know and that can teach me. And the fastest way to get there is two things. First of all, I found people that were local in proximity to me that were successful, quote unquote, from what I saw as success that can be different to everybody. And I began to build relationships with them. I began to invest in that relationship. I would find a way, maybe I was going and volunteering and somebody that owned a company that I looked up to, I admired, and I'd say, hey, Ron, there's a guy named Ron, can I buy you coffee? I would love to buy you coffee one day and just sit down and get to know you better. Ron's a really successful man in my town. And through that, we spent 3 hours together at Starbucks. And I learned so many things about business and life that I never would have known had I not bought Ron coffee and he invested that time with me. Now I have a friend in business and a mentor that I can call on that invests in me his time and his energy to teach me the things I don't know. The second thing is, if you want to go really fast, hire a coach or join a mastermind. I invested, how I know Steve, into Nicholas Bailey's BDB Elite. And I invested in a mastermind with men that own businesses all across the US. I began to learn from Nicholas, who does exactly what I want to do. I began to do a case study on him. How does Nicholas do this? How is he successful? How did he monetize it? How does he make money? How does he make an impact on people? So I found somebody that's doing what I want to do. I invested money to get in proximity to them. And then through that, I'm able to learn and grow and basically see what he does that works and make it my own. Success leaves clues. Every time in life, everybody's like trying to figure out like this new thing. Well, the truth is all the wisdom's already out there. Like none of it's new. You just got to figure out, okay, what are the clues? What applies to me and how can I make it my own?
Awesome. I think that is all really, really good advice. Cody, I want to thank you for coming on. The 10 at 10 has gone for almost 25 minutes, which is good because we over deliver. Cody, if people want to find you somewhere, where should they go to check out Motivation Everything? I will tag him in the comments below, but you can check him out. Cody, where should they go?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So just search Motivation Everything on Facebook groups. Join our group. It's one of the best, most high-quality groups, and not just a bunch of memes and crap. It's a community of like-minded, driven people. I can guarantee you, I will give you a disclaimer. If you join this group, warning, you're going to get extremely motivated and take massive action in your life and see real-world results. So I'm just warning you guys, get ready to have your life 10x. Other than that, you guys can follow me, Cody Cottle, on Facebook. I am Cody Cottle on Instagram, or you can also find me on TikTok at I am Cody Cottle, where I make a video every single day, and I share it across all the platforms. One thing I will say that a lot of people like that I do is, guys, I make a motivational video that's 30 seconds to a minute every single day. Everybody has a minute to give of their time, and I can guarantee you these messages are impactful.
Cody is absolutely awesome. If you have not gotten a little bit more motivated just by listening to him, you need to check yourself for a pulse. I thank you guys so much for checking this out. I'll quickly throw this up. If you need help with stories that sell, that's what I do. You can go
Steve's
check
the
me
man.
out. But you should definitely check Cody out because he does show up every single day. No one shows up better than he does. Every day, a little bit of motivation for you. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the 10 at 10 today. And until tomorrow, take action, change lives, and make money. We'll see you soon.